Is it clear, Bhavya? Fine. So I hope now everybody is clear. Thank you. Fine. Now we are trying to change lexical parameter in the from class. When we are using from class, we must to provide initial value. It's mandatory. Okay. So take this, go to data model, open the query, ampersand, name of the lexical parameter. Now go to layout already designed. We done through wizard. Let me go to directly parameter form, right click, parameter form builder. Let's run the page. What is the table name? F underscore EMP. So if we pass F underscore EMP table, we have to get only 30th department data. If we pass employee table, then we'll get all the departments. F underscore EMP. What happened? We have given the wrong syntax here, right? Select star from this. Now pass F underscore EMP table, then we'll see only 30 department data in the output. Instead of this table, if we pass employee table, then we'll see all the departments data. It means your table name has replaced in the query dynamic. So table name or view name or synonym name, any name, whatever we pass in the parameter, it will be replaced. Okay, fine. Any other doubts? So last session we have talked about the triggers, and we have seen how the triggers are firing in the sequence order. This. Now go to help menu, help contents, go to help menu, help contents, index. Here we can search for triggers concept. Go to triggers. About report triggers. Open. Now we can see explanation about all the 5 triggers. Yes. What is the first trigger? It will be fired before parameter form. Before parameter form. So what we'll do in the before parameter form? It fires before the runtime parameter form is displayed. When this trigger is going to be fired, before your parameter form is displayed, it's going to be fired. From this trigger, you can access and change the values of the parameters. From this trigger, you can access and change the values of the parameter. Means if there are any parameters in your report that you can access, and you can change the values also. Not only parameters, any PLSQL global variables and report columns are there, that also you can access. Report level columns, PLSQL global variables, this also we can access. If the runtime parameter form is suppressed, this trigger still fires. It means, for example, some of the reports will be there, doesn't have any parameters. It means you don't have the parameter form. Even if we don't have the parameter form, but still if you write any code in this trigger, that will be executed. It doesn't mean that parameters are mandatory. Even if we don't have the parameters also, still the trigger will be fired. Consequently, you can use this trigger for the validation of command line parameter. In case if you run the report from the command prompt, if we run this report from the command prompt, generally we don't execute. In case if you want to execute your report from the command prompt, we can go for validation of command line parameters. For example, user has passed from department number equal to this value. Some 89 years passed. I want to validate. Validate means verify whether 89 is a valid department number or not. I would like to verify. That can be done. In case if you run this report from the command prompt. But if you run from the front end, we cannot do that. We cannot do that because it will be already executed. The trigger will be already executed. Okay. So anyway, we don't run the reports from command prompt, that we can leave it. So what we can do from before report trigger is 2 things. We can access and change the parameter values. Whatever the parameters you have, those parameter values we can access and change. Now we'll see how to do that. Now we'll see how to do that. Let's go to data model. I'm defining 2 parameters here, p underscore from, p underscore to. I'm defining 2 bind parameters, p underscore from, p underscore from and p underscore to. 2 parameters I have defined here, p underscore from and p underscore to. Now these two parameters we can access from before parameter form trigger we can access. How to access the parameters from this trigger? Not only from this trigger, any trigger, we will use colon symbol. Colon P underscore from. I would like to assign the values. How to assign? We will use assignment operator. We will use assignment operator. So now we have accessed parameters from this trigger and we have assigned some values. That's what we can do maximum in before parameter form trigger. So we can access the parameters and we can assign the values. Parameters are PLSQL global variables or report level columns also. Report level columns also we can access. Now parameters are not displayed because we have not designed parameter form, right? So let's go to parameter form. Go to parameter form. Right click parameter form builder. By default all will be selected. Just press OK. It will replace existing parameter form. And now we'll see here. Now we can see here the parameter by default we got from department number as 10 to department number as 10. Before parameter is displayed, your trigger has fired. Your trigger has fired and you got the values over there. That is before parameter form trigger purpose. Next, after parameter form trigger. This trigger fires after the runtime parameter form is displayed. Means after we submit the input parameters, this trigger will be fired. What we can do from this trigger? From this trigger, we can access the parameters. We can check the parameter values and we can change the parameter values. We can also check the values. We can also check the values. And if we want to change the value, we can change. If we want to change the value, we can change. Okay. For example, we have a requirement like this. In the two parameter, it must be maximum department number. It should not exceed that. In P underscore 2 means two department number, user must pass maximum department number. How will you find what is the maximum department number? You have to write a simple select statement. Select maximum department number into some local variable. So if this parameter value is more than that, then we would like to show some error message or we want to change the value, whatever required. So first we'll see the error message. We'll go for error message. Go to after parameter form trigger, double click. What is our first task? We have to find what is the maximum department number. I'm declaring one local variable. Purpose is to find maximum department number into this variable from department table. Right? Now you got maximum department number into the variable called L underscore number. Write a simple if statement. If P underscore 2 means your parameter value is greater than this variable. greater than this variable L underscore number, then what we want to do, we would like to show the message srw dot message. You can give any message number. Please enter valid to department number. And we would like to stop the report. What you have to do? You have to say return false. Return false means your report will be stopped. Else your report will be successful. If user has passed proper department number, if it is less than or equal to maximum department number, no problem. It will be just true and passed. This is a simple logic we are going to do. Fine. Now compile the report, close. Let's run the report. Now I'm going to pass two department number as 89. Then it will show error message because it's more than maximum department number. So it is going to show the message and report will be stopped. We said return true. If we pass either maximum department number or less than that, okay. Let's say we are passing 50, it's fine. Perfect. For example, client says that if user pass maximum department number more than that, don't show the message. Let's assign whatever maximum department is there that we want to assign to that two department number. We want to consider maximum department number. If user enter more than that, don't show the error message that please enter valid department number. Instead of message, let's take the maximum number whatever is there instead of that. If user pass some 90, that is more than the department number. So let's not take that. Whatever maximum is there, that we want to take it. So then again return false. So sorry, return true. Now we don't want to show any message. If user enter more than that, let's take the maximum number whatever is there. Yes, first we have to find whatever maximum department number is there. If user enter less than that, no problem. Less than or equal. But more than that, if user pass, previous session what we have done, previous example, we have shown the error message and stopped the report. Now I don't want any error message. If user enter more than that, let's not take that number. Take the whatever maximum number is there. Let's take that. So we are assigning the maximum number to your department number. Now if we try to run the report, if I enter 89, but no problem. I don't show any error message. It takes the maximum department number instead of 89. Instead of 89, it will consider maximum department. Now what we can do in after parameter form is we have accessed parameters. We have accessed parameter and we have validated, means we have checked value of the parameter and we have also changed. We have also changed. That's what after parameter form can do it. After user pass the parameters, this trigger will be fired. From this trigger, what we can do is we can access the parameters and we can check the parameter values. Checking means condition, less than or greater than or equal or whatever it is. Then if at all we want to change the parameter value, we can change. We can change the parameter values. Okay. So that's what we have done now here. Let's take another simple example. Generally in the query, if we are using between operator and we are using between operator, from value must be less than or equal to 2. That is a basic rule in SQL. When we are using between operator from and to, from value must be less than or equal to 2 value. From value must be less than or equal to 2 value. Now if I pass reverse order, right now it is not going to show any error message. This is actually invalid input. But we don't get any output. It won't show any error message between 60 to 50. 60 to 50 means it is invalid. But we don't get any result. So whenever we want to restrict the user, we can do it here. Go to after parameter form trigger. What is our requirement? If from value is less than or equal to 2 value, then return true. Then return true. Otherwise, return false. And before that you want to show any message, you can show the message also. srw dot message. Please enter valid from and to values. Local variable not required. I think previous done. Now it's not required. Fine. Now if we pass the same values what we have passed earlier, 60 and 50, it will show error message. It will not be accepted. I am passing between 60 to 40. It is not a valid input. It will not be accepted. And the report execution will be stopped. When we go for equal also fine. So from value must be less than or equal to 2 value. Even equal also it will be accepted. We will get the data between 40 to 40. This is how we can check the parameter values, that is after parameter form trigger. Next one is a before report trigger. This before report trigger fires before the report runs but after queries are parsed. What is mean by query parsed? Generally in SQL, whenever we write a select statement, first your select statement will be parsed. Then it will be executed. What is meant by parsed? Parsed is nothing but checking the syntax. System will verify first the syntax is clear or not. Is it correct or are there any wrong? If it is correct, then it will go for execution. That checking time is nothing but a parsed time. That checking time is nothing but a parsed time. Then it is going to be execution time. Then it will be executed. So this particular trigger will exactly fire between the parsed time and execution time. Here your trigger will be fired. Before report trigger fires, before trigger report trigger fires, before run the report, but after queries are parsed. After queries are parsed. So your queries are already parsed. Your queries are already parsed. So this before report trigger we'll see in Oracle applications. We don't have any suitable example here. We'll see that in applications, but important we'll see in applications. Next. After before report trigger, what is the next one? Between pages trigger. Whenever we move from one page to another page, this trigger fires. It fires before each page of the report is formatted, except the very first page. Except for first page, for remaining all the pages, this trigger will be fired. When it will be fired? Before each page of the report is formatted. Formatted means displayed. Formatted means displayed. This trigger can be used for customization of page formatting. Each page you want to customize a different way, we can do it. In the paper design view, this trigger only fires first time that you go to the page. Next time it will not be fired. That's what last session we have seen. If you subsequently return to the page, the trigger doesn't fire again. Very first time only when you go through the pages, this trigger will be fired, not again. Okay. So that is between pages trigger. This is also we don't use. We can leave this. You can just remember enough. Then last trigger is after report trigger. This fires after you exit your paper design view. Means once you close your output, or after report output is sent to the specific destination. Means once you send your output as a file or printing or email, then this trigger will be fired. What is the main purpose of this trigger is, this trigger can be used to clean up any initial processing that was done. Before running the report, you might have created some temporary tables, or you might have taken some temporary setups that you want to remove it after completion of the reports. Then this trigger can be used. Okay. So this trigger can be used to clean up any initial processing that was done. Initially means before start the report, you might have taken some, like deleting the tables and some other database connectivity, like any other remote connectivity you have done, then it will be. This trigger always fires whether or not your report completed successfully. Whether your report is success or not doesn't matter, always this trigger will be fired. Okay. Now we'll take one simple example for after report trigger. I'm creating one table, create table name is GL underscore EMP having some columns. Serial number, system date, total records, from department number, what user has passed, to department number, what user has passed. This is the log file we would like to populate. Populate means insert the record after completion of the report. What information we want to insert? Serial number. Let's say serial number we want to go for database sequence. Dot next val. We want to create one database sequence and we want to use sequence name dot next val. Date when the report is submitted, this we want to go for server date. And total records means how will you find total records? You have to create one summary column at report level so that you will come to know how many records are fetched. Then whatever input parameters user has passed from department number and to department number, this we want to insert. So this is just log information we are going to insert into the table after completion of the report. After completion of the report. How to create database sequence? We can create either from SQL prompt. We can also create here itself. Database, create sequence. You can create a sequence here, table, trigger, view, all. All database objects can be done. Go to database menu, create sequence, name of the sequence. Start with minimum value, maximum value, cycle, execute. Name is already used by an existing object. EMP underscore data name already there. Let's change the name, object name change. Oh, fine. Now database sequence is ready. Summary column we have to create. We have to create one summary column. Go to data model, create one summary column because we want to know how many records are retrieved from the database. So go to the function count employee number for entire report. Okay. Go to after report trigger, write a insert statement. Insert into GL underscore EMP. What are the columns? Serial number, system date, total records, P underscore from, P underscore to, values, database sequence dot, next value, sysdate, colon summary column. What is the summary column name? CS underscore 1. If we want parameter values also, colon name of the parameter. Column names and parameters, whatever values we want, that we use colon, and this is commit. Now let's run the report. Now user is passing from 10 to 40. Between 10th department to 40th department, how many records are there? When you exit from the page preview, trigger will be fired. Internally, record will be inserted and commit also issued. I am going to execute this report 3 times. 3 times means 3 records should be inserted into the table, and commit also we have issued. Then we can see the record in another session also. This time I am passing between 10 to 10. Output is only 4 records. Next. This time we are going to pass between 40 to 40. And now we got only 3 records output. That's it. 3 times we have executed the report. Let me check the table. Sorry, what is your table name? GL underscore EMP table. How many records? You have 3 records. You have submitted your report 3 times, and this is the date and total records. First time you got 18 records, then 4 and 3. This is analysis. So after completion of the report, whatever PLSQL code you want to execute, you can write. It's not that only log file generation or initial. Whatever code you want to write, you can write. This is a general requirement. That's why we are talking. Otherwise, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Okay. So these are 5 triggers. Out of 5, mainly we'll be using after parameter form trigger, after report trigger, before report trigger also. These 3 triggers will be using mainly. Okay. Fine. Now very important concept now we are going to discuss. How to populate lexical parameters. Last session we have discussed what is lexical parameter and what is the functionality of the lexical parameter. And we discussed that that is not the way of using it. Then what is the way of using? Let's say your client says, oh, yes, is it clear? Is it clear now, Bhavya? I think it will be connected. Yeah, is it clear now? Okay. Yes, is it clear now? Fine. So now we are going for lexical parameter. Let's say client is telling that I have a parameter, I required a parameter called employee number, employee name, department number and salary. So client is required one parameter called sort by with LOV. This we know, right, already how to define it. It's a bind parameter we'll create. Now depends on the user selection, our query should be changed. Select star from EMP, select star from EMP, order by whatever value user has selected. If user selects salary, then we want here order by salary. We want here order by salary. If user select employee number, then we want here order by employee number, like this. We cannot change only column name. If at all we want to change entire string, we have to change. Whenever we want to change the string or syntax, then what we will use? We will use the lexical parameter. We will use the lexical parameter. So first we will create one bind parameter with LOV. Then we will create one lexical parameter. Depends on the user selection. Depends on the user selection. We need to set the value for lexical parameter. Okay. So now go to the reports. Let me take the new report for this. Go to new report. Just select star from EMP and select all the columns. Okay. Now go to data model, user parameters. I'm creating bind parameter first. Sort. Data type is character and with list of values. What are the list of values we would like to display to the user? Employee number, employee name, salary, department number. 4 values we have provided. Press OK. Now we have defined bind parameter. We are going to define the lexical parameter. We are going to define lexical parameter. What is the purpose of this lexical parameter? To populate order by class. Just create a parameter. Just create lexical parameter. Go to after parameter form trigger. After parameter form trigger. Why we are going for after parameter form trigger? After user select the parameter. After user select the value here, employee number or salary, some value user will select. Then we are writing simple if condition. If P underscore sort option equal to salary, means if user select salary in the bind parameter, then what is the value for lexical parameter? Whatever syntax you would like to assign to the lexical parameter, that. Next. Else if employee number, then we'll go for assign employee number. Else if sort option equal to employee name, means if user select employee name, last one is order by department number. Depends on the user selection, we are going to prepare the syntax and assign that syntax to the lexical parameter here itself. We are giving 4 options to the user. What are that 4 options? Salary, employee number, employee name, and last one is a department number. If user select employee name, for example, what is the value for lexical parameter? Order by name. Whatever syntax you would like to assign to the lexical parameter, assign this. Now 4 values are there in the bind parameter. User must select any of the value. If user select the value, based on that we have prepared the syntax or value to the lexical parameter. So we have written the syntax here itself. Last session we used to type this in the parameter form. We used to type in the parameter form. Now we are not typing. Depends on the user selection in this parameter. We are going to set what is the value for lexical parameter. What is the value for lexical parameter? Fine. Now use the lexical parameter in the query. Use the lexical parameter in the query. Go to data model. Already we have seen how to use lexical parameter, ampersand name of the parameter. Order by clause means last. Press OK. Now go to parameter form. Now in the parameter form, will display only bind parameter to the user. Right click, parameter form builder. We will display only bind parameter to the user. We don't display lexical parameter to the user, because for lexical parameter already we have assigned the value based on your bind parameter value selection. In the bind parameter, if you select salary, then already I have assigned the value order by salary. Here if you select employee number, already we have written the syntax order by employee number for this. So now we are not going to display the lexical parameters to the users. User has to pass only values, depends on the user selection. Internally we have already written the logic. We have written already logic for all the 4 scenarios. What are that? If user select employee number, what is the value? If user select employee name, what is the value? Like that. Now here bind parameter we are displaying. Now user will choose salary. Internally order by salary will be replaced. Now we'll get the output with order by salary. Now if I choose order by department number, then internally order by department number will be replaced. Because after parameter form, we have already written the value to the lexical parameter. So in the last session, we used to pass the value manually. Now we have already written the logic. For 4 values we have written. For example, 20 values are there. Employee number, name, salary, department number, hire date, like that. Instead of writing 20 if statement, there is another option also. This is one option. Let me go for write another one. Colon, your lexical parameter equal to order by concatenation p underscore sort option. Order by is fixed, right? That is fixed. Concatenation, whatever value user has selected. If user select employee number, it comes as a order by employee number. If user select employee name, then it comes as a order by employee name. We got order by salary. We have selected salary. Let me check department number. Now we'll see based on order by department number. So this method also we can do single line code. Sorry? You cannot use bind parameter in order by class, right? Order by, what you are telling is order by colon p sort. Bind parameter I can use only in the where class. Only for replacing the values, not the string. That's. So we can write if statement. First I have written if statement because you can clearly understand. Another one also this. This is simple. Okay. So this is how we can use lexical parameter in the order by class properly. Okay. So last session what we used to do, we used to type the syntax in the parameter form. Now we are not typing the syntax. We are selecting the value internally that is going to prepare the syntax. We are selecting the value internally, it's going to prepare the syntax. Okay. This is order by class. Same logic for any report. If you work for any report, same logic, but values may be different. Here I have taken salary, employee number, employee name. In the real time, invoice number, invoice date, invoice amount, customer name, supplier name. Like that you may find different columns, but logic is same. Whatever syntax, that is next example. This is only order by class we are working now. So where class also similar type, we'll see that next. So order by invoice number, order by invoice date, like. So whatever syntax you want to replace, that will mention it. Okay, fine. This is how we can go for populate order by clause. Okay. Next session means on Monday, we will go for where clause. How to work with the lexical parameter with the where clause. Okay. Fine. So this all you can practice on Monday. We'll go for where clause lexical parameter.